showtime, folks.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Into the Music. My name is John, that guy is Andy, and we talk crap about music. I've got a special track for us to discuss, but before we do, please don't forget to hit the like button if you like this track. I'm sure you will. Trust Uncle John. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. You know it's worth it. That being said, Andy,
yes, sir.
Are you ready for another assault on your senses?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Cool. So the band is someone that I know you must have heard of, Sonic Youth.
Yes. I have heard of Sonic Youth.
Are you familiar with their workings?
A few songs here and there, but not a great deal. Almost, I would say, to my shame, because I know how influential Sonic Youth is. So I would be interested in expanding my horizons. The funny thing is you're going to give me the name and I'm going to be like, not even certain if it's one that I've heard before. Because that's how loose my knowledge is on Sonic Youth and their work. But I mean, throw it at me. I'm sure I'll like it regardless.
There's probably 4 or 5 that are fairly well known, 3 in particular. This is an earlier one, which is kind of well known, but I doubt you've heard it before. It's called Schizophrenia.
Okay. Yeah, rings no bells.
Fair enough. Well, go away, have a listen, and come back and tell all.
I will do just that. Thank you. to take this back some. This was just really rich and beautiful, the sound, while also like still retaining its kind of simplicity. I really liked it. Forgive me, guys. Is so like subdued, like you still hear it, it's still present enough that you're aware, but it's so perfectly subdued, just kind of lingering in the background with that picking. Yeah, I want to hear a little bit more, so just a little bit here. Yeah, that was a treat. Great sound. Oh, yeah. Let's get back to John. All right, here I am, returned. Just beautiful guitars throughout the whole song, man. Just great tone. This plodding and loose kind of drum style, at least in the beginning, which whenever I hear, I'm always thinking this is going somewhere. Like this is just a prelude to a slow build that gets into something. And around the 133 mark, I think it kind of changes musically, and the drums and the guitar pick up at this really, and it just adds this really nice change of pace to the song, especially where you are in it. I mean, a minute and 30, a minute and 40 into a song, you're ready for kind of something new, and they give you just that. Then it goes back into this like really calming melody with just these guitar sounds that almost remind me of Sometime Around Midnight by a song by the Airborne Toxic Event, which I think you're familiar with. We've talked about them a
Yeah.
little bit in the past, but just the tone of the guitars and the sound of the guitars actually took me to that song, which is a song I really love. And then the drums do exactly what I suggest they might do earlier when I was talking about them. They sort of begin to evolve and then escalate into this driving rhythm with it, which is just so pretty and so needed in the song, I think, at this point. Because like I said, if you have an instinct for music, you know that the drums, like the first time you begin to hear them, they're indicating that something's going to happen with them later in the tune. And that happens, and it was like exactly how I imagined. And then it slows down, and the guitars switch to like a minor key. There's like this key change that's really like, and I guess given the nature of the song, the song title and kind of the subject matter, it's darker in tone and mood, which is an interesting tactic to deploy. And then it just kind of falls off, which could also be kind of a metaphor for something bigger, given, again, the subject matter of the tune. So I loved it. I thought it was a great song. I thought it was clever. I thought it was well constructed. I thought the musical dynamics with both the drumming and the guitars were fabulous. So yeah, this is something I would definitely go scope out again. But as far as like digging into the lyrics, there were bits and pieces I heard. I guess that would be my one critique of this song, and my one critique for music of this genre and era, is that oftentimes the vocals kind of get lost in the mix. Like they could come up just a little bit. So especially when it's got a name like this that's so evocative, and it's like it wants you to like, it's a song that's going to make you want to think, or you're going to want to understand. I just wish, damn, those lyrics would come up a little bit so I could hear them. But there were like parts that I heard in the song, and I pulled them up right after listening, only because I wanted to be able to reference them correctly. I didn't want another run around in thongs moment from a past reaction that we had. So I wanted to make sure I got, especially given the nature of the tune. But the lyrics,
your thongs.
The bit that I heard, that I thought I heard and I wanted to confirm, was her brother says she's just a bitch with a golden chain. Like that sentence to me, that lyric to me is loaded. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on more. I'm assuming this isn't a first person perspective about someone talking about their own battle with schizophrenia. It's like projected onto another individual. I wasn't sure if it was about this sister or this brother that the person's talking about. So I wasn't able to comb through all that. And I didn't want to dig too much into the lyrics. I just wanted to confirm it and then leave it to more of a learning process with you. So if you could shed some light on that, that would be kind of cool, because again, the name makes you want to know what the song's about more.
Cool. I'll do a bit of the band and all their lengthy history. I'll condense it down. This won't be an hour and a half episode. And then I'll go through the song. So they founded in New York, 1981, Sonic Youth. Key personnel: Thurston Moore, vocals, guitar; Kim Gordon, bass, vocals; Lee Ronaldo, guitar, vocals. And then they had drummers on rotation, but for the most part, it's a guy called Steve Shelley who's on this, on drums. And it's a very good, actually. They came out of this sort of no wave movement, which is sort of experimental post-punk art, noise, rock, lots of labels, and they were seen initially as these idiots who were trying to make this weird noise and couldn't find a tune with a map and two hands, but they certainly changed expectations. It was like they got huge criticism at the start. They're known for their experimental sounds, alternative tunings. They had objects which they shove into the guitars, like drumsticks or screwdrivers, just to change the timbre of the guitars, and alternative tunings, as I said, as well. So they got to the point, and rather than retune for every song, they had guitars for each song, because they couldn't remember the tunings as well. And then when they lost a load of guitars, they lost the ability to play quite a large section of their back catalogue live because they didn't know how to tune, because they never wrote it down. They're quite interesting. So they are, as you say, a major force and influence on really American indie stroke underground music, full stop, let alone, you know, those bits. They did then have mainstream, so-called mainstream success with Geffen, DCG, or whatever they're called. Just a quick sort of rundown. I can show you some records as well, which is always a lovely thing. So they brought out their first EP in 1981, Sonic Youth EP, which wasn't very good. And then their first album, Confusion is Sex, in 1983. So then they brought out this album, Bad Moon Rising, which was definitely a step up in their output. It's a decent album. And then they brought out this, that was in 84, and then this in 86, Evil. And that was another massive step up. That's a really good album. But again, it's a little, still quite experimental. There's some sort of jamming sounds on there. I'll show you that. Oh, I'll show you that. It's 12 inches. Sister, which came out in 87, was much more proper structured songs. They really evolved in their songwriting. I'll go back to that in a second. And they brought out Daydream Nation, which most people consider to be their masterpiece, hugely critically acclaimed. It's been put in the Library of Congress, added it to the National Recording Registry in 2006 as one of the essential albums of the 80s. Yeah, hugely top the list of most critics album of the year. Had a lot of critics album of the decade. That was in 88. They brought out this as well, which is called the Whitey album, under the name of Jaconi Youth. The idea was to do a load of Madonna songs. They did a couple, and they did Addicted to Love by Robert Palmer as well. They got a great track on it called Silence, which is, yeah, you guess it, it's better on vinyl than CD. It's like about 30 seconds of silence. It's a really cool album, actually. Some of them having fun, though. Then they brought out another really iconic album in 1990, Goo, which launched, you know, a million T-shirts and even more posters.
Yeah,
and
I
had that as well.
Instantly.
Yeah, I had that as a T-shirt, and people would stop me and talk to me just because I was wearing a Sonic Youth T-shirt back in '92. It was really cool. And then their sort of breakthrough mainstream was Dirty in 1992. Yeah. They've done several albums since. I haven't got any of the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more albums, which I haven't got on vinyl. And the last one being 2009, and they split after Kim Gordon, the bassist, and Thurston Moore, lead singer guitarist, they married, you know, after a couple of years being in the band, and had quite a messy divorce in 2011. The band split then and confirmed they'd not get back together again. Yeah, so yeah, just about this album and the song. So the album was apparently inspired by the life and the writings of Philip K. Dick, loosely a concept album. Not only did he have schizophrenia, but he also had a twin sister who died, I think, shortly after birth, and her potential life haunted him all his life. And so this song was originally going to be called Sister, and they changed it to Schizophrenia, and it was written in parts. So that's why you've got 2 different narratives within the lyrics, and you've got like 4 parts to the song. And so the first part is Thurston Moore just talking about this girl that he met, with schizophrenia, but she's laughing at him because he's saying about he's got all these problems when he doesn't realise what problems really are. And then the second part, Kim Gordon actually had a brother, her older brother, Keller, who she grew up in awe of, apparently. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and eventually went to live in supervised care. So it's kind of her personal bit about that as well. Yeah, I've got the lyrics up here, and just so you can, I'll just whiz. It's not very long, so I'll whiz through it.
Okay.
The first verse, there's some more talking. It goes, I went away to see an old friend of mine. His sister came over. She was out of her mind. She said, Jesus had a twin and knew nothing about sin. She was laughing like crazy at the trouble I'm in.
Yeah, I definitely remember hearing an allusion to Jesus, and I was thinking, man, what are the levels up? Okay, cool.
Her light eyes were dancing. She's insane. Her brother says she's just a bitch with a golden chain. She keeps coming closer, saying, I can feel it in my bones. Schizophrenia is taking me home. I love that, those two lines, the way he sings it as well. I can feel it in my bones. And then it sort of goes to the instrumentals and that. And then Kim Gordon's bit goes, my future is static. It's already had it. I could tuck you in and we could talk about it. I had a dream and it split the scene, but I got a hunch it's coming back to me. Goes into that sort of high speed bit. So yeah, that's the lyrics really.
Interesting.
So it's fairly literal. I mean, he's just talking about an incident, and she's in sort of imagery talking, I think, about her brother, and it's just this schizophrenic sort of delusion. I really love this song. One, for the guitars, and two, the overall feel. Sister is an amazing album. It's got bits of everything in terms of their catalogue. It's got that sort of noise rock and some really sort of almost hardcore sound to it. It's got some poetic stuff and some trippy, almost this psychedelic stuff as well. And then there's very sort of art rock stroke indie music as well. It's a great album. And it's probably my second favorite Sonic Youth album.
You just named a lot of genres that appear, or like sounds that they tap into on this album. In your estimation, what do you think this song, of all those, what do you think this song falls under?
I think it's hard, isn't it? But I mean, you could say alternative rock because that covers bloody everything. I mean, I'd put this under, again, probably sort of sitting on the fence. You could say this is art rock in a way, couldn't you? Or just straight up indie rock,
Yeah, I only asked because like you named all this like dream stuff, and like I like that too, and you've thrown me some of that in the past. This seemed much more cut and dry, and that is not. I'm not using that pejoratively.
Oh yeah,
like, it's just like it is more just. I don't know if it's because of what they wanted to convey through the messaging of the song and sort of the gravity of the subject matter, and they wanted to give it like a better treatment, if you will, and not have anything kind of get lost in all their machinations and experimentation. But yeah, to me, I was just like, yeah, you're naming all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not getting any of those vibes. Now, of course, I know there are albums where one song could sound like one kind of music and another song could sound like another. But yeah, this seemed much more. God, it sounds so bad when you say something is middle of the road, because that's not what I mean.
It's straight
by, like,
up, isn't it?
But yeah, it's not flirting with a lot of things, and I think that's tactically the smart move when you're talking about schizophrenia, and there's this story and anecdotal stuff that you want to get from it. So yeah, it just intrigued me when you were saying that about, and now I'm like, well, if this is a mixed bag of like sounds and genres that they're dealing with on this album, I'd like to hear maybe some other stuff that from them that is less, straightforward and more.
Oh yeah, I've got another one lined up.
Okay.
But I do warn you, it's like a lot of people's favorite song, so you have to like it.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a lot of people's favorite song, then I mean, I'm sure I'll like it. I like this one, and this one doesn't seem to have as many followers, given how you're billing the other. So I think I'll be all right.
No, I'm joking, but yeah, I've got another one lined up, which is a bit more expansive.
Cool. Because I mean, I wasn't left wanting that from this, but I was left interested in the wake of what you had said about the album. So that's really cool. I'll look forward to scoping that out.
And just going back to the band as a whole, they hold a really special place in my heart. I stumbled across them late 80s, something like that, and I just got as much as I could on vinyl at the time, which was quite hard to get some of it at that time. But there were otherworldly sounding, particularly the earlier stuff, but I still loved it. And then suddenly, bands like Nirvana sprung up, and I was like, Jesus, this is Sonic Youth and Pixies combined. But for lots of people, it was a brand new sound.
Yeah.
And you could see, and actually they had a friendship anyway. And following their success, apparently Nirvana persuaded Geffen to sign Sonic Youth as to the major level, because they were bouncing around. So I think it probably helped. And they had, they're on The Simpsons, for God's sake. So they had some success.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, the Dirty Tour, I got to see them live, and supporting them was Pavement. It was a hell of a night. And as we skipped back, I had a camper van at the time, and I had 3 other mates with me. And as we skipped back to our camper van, full of joy of what a fantastic gig, and not throwing up in the streets because we'd had too much to drink, not at all. We passed this chip shop in Nottingham. They'd played at Rock City. And there was a blacked out, I wouldn't say a stretch limo, but it was a biggish car. And then out walked Sonic Youth and into the chip shop to get some chips. So we stopped and chatted to them for about 20 minutes, and they were lovely. Kim Gordon looked, I won't be harsh, but she looked like she may have taken something to help her sleep, and looked a bit worried. Thurston Moore is a tall son of a bitch. He's taller than me. He must be at least 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'6". Really nice, charming.
Yeah.
They were a little bit guarded at first, because obviously they're probably a bunch of weirdos. When they just realised we were 4 English idiots, they were fine. Lee Ronaldo was weird and funny, and he kept going, chips, because the American, he couldn't get over the fact that we call our fries chips. And he just kept laughing to himself and going, chips, And Steve Shelley was just sitting in the corner, just kind of talking to himself. I think he was just very quiet, but they were lovely. And awesome. We didn't have camera phones at the time or anything like that shit, and I didn't even have a pen to get anything signed, but the memory's still there. I treasure that, because it was amazing. We just, they seemed like from another world to us back then.
Yeah. What part of the area was, like, what part was this in London, I assume, or was this
Nottingham?
Oh, Nottingham.
So it's central, below Sheffield, above London. Yeah. So it was really, really cool. But yeah, I've always loved them. And there's that golden period for me, and other people have a different point of view. But I'd say maybe Evolve, but definitely Sister, Daydream Nation, Goo, Dirty. Those 4 albums are really hard to beat for anything else at that time. They're superb, and that for me is their gold. They've done decent stuff either side of it, and very popular stuff, but yeah. And just sort of side note, Thurston Moore's last album came out last year, and I absolutely love it. He's still knocking out some decent stuff.
And it sounds akin to Sonic Youth, or what Sonic Youth would be doing at this time.
Kind of. There's a couple of songs on there where actually sound like later Sonic Youth songs. I forgot the name of the song, but it sounds like a song off 1,000 Leaves called Sunday, which is a great song. Again, that's more middle of the road, actually, but it's driving and jamming, and But yeah, I'll dig out some more Sonic Youth for you, and hopefully everybody will like this and say how much they like Sonic Youth as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. It sounds like a band.
Or say how pretentious they think they are, etc. But either way, let us know.
Yeah, right on.
Do you want to take us out then, Andy?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I can tell that this band is special to you, because very rare in all the times we've talked about music have you gone as far as to name 4 great albums by one band. Like, you're usually 1 or 2 albums and you're done. Like, you've exhausted your feelings for a band and you're ready to move on to another. So that's high praise for an artist when you're like, yeah, they've got 4 amazing albums. So that being said, hey, everybody out there, thanks so much for tuning in and watching it. And like John said, please jump in the comments and let us know what you think about Sonic Youth. I have a feeling that this is a band that a lot of you all are familiar with and probably have a lot of appreciation for. So hit the like button if you feel so inclined. But until next time, we will see you all on the next episode of, there's John with one last plug, Into the Music. See you guys.
Yeah.